European External Action Service versus the European Council. With the EU's stance on the Ukrainian crisis still unclear and many future international issues ahead of us, what is the future for EU foreign affairs? Who should govern it to ensure that the EU is able to attain the role of a decisive and coherent partner at a global level? Part of the European Union is to act coherently at an international level. In other words, this means that the EU has to be consistent with their decisions and its intentions made clear to all member states. The main problem the EU faces is that it currently doesn't have a concrete plan of action with regards to sensitive issues across the continent. Common Foreign and Security Policy, CSFP, ensures that the EU is a unit. Without the policy, member states would act only in their own interests, meaning that the EU wouldn't be standing as a whole. In light of the current situation in Ukraine, the EU isn't entirely sure whether the CFSP works to its full capacity, so the EU is reconsidering how it can change the way foreign affairs are dealt with, i.e., should the EU be acting as a global player or remain within the boundaries of the member states? As competences need to be voted in unanimously by the 28 member states, the EU's role has arguably been weak, unproductive and ineffective in its reaction to the Ukrainian crisis. But is this a good or a bad thing? On one hand, the EU is not able to make quick and swift verdicts. However, on the other hand, it ensures that all member states' differences of interest are taken into consideration before making a decision. To put this into context, some member states want the EU to act more rigidly against Russia, as some Baltic states feel endangered by them. However, Germany or the UK wouldn't necessarily welcome these regulations, however, as they would harm their European internal market. So, the national context in which the EU approaches foreign policy is extremely important. Should the EU be given responsibility for offering an approach to dealing with international affairs and foreign policies? What's the future of the EU's foreign policy stance?